Happy Monday. Happy Monday, guys. Happy Monday. How are you guys doing? How are you? This is one of my random lives. I am sitting in my front porch. Noah's taking a nap, so I figured this was like the perfect time to go live with you guys. Hello. Noah's napping right now. But I wanted to come on because I would say for the past few weeks, almost a month now, I have had different parents reach out to me with questions about schooling. And I figured I'd talk about it because yesterday and this morning I had two more parents reach out to me. And I never really addressed it on Noah's page. So I just figured I'd just do a live. I'll save it. And anyone who is thinking about this or has any questions, they could look at this live and hopefully I could answer some of these questions for you. One of the questions that I have been asked a lot is about Noah's schooling. And did I put him in a special needs classroom or in an integrated classroom? And the answer is Noah did pre-K in a special needs school. And that school was Helen Keller School for the Blind and Special Needs. It used to be a school just for blind children, but then it became a school for children that are blind and disabled. And Noah's classroom was a mixture of children with all types of disabilities, but they worked with them individually as well based on their need. And I can honestly say that at first it was a little heartbreaking knowing that my child was going to be in that type of setting, but I had to accept that my child has Down syndrome and that would probably be the best situation for him. So I also received that information for that school from one of my aunts. She actually works for an agency, early development agency, and she told me that that was one of the top schools in Brooklyn for special needs. So that's why I went with that school. Now that he is in elementary school, it's a whole different thing. And that's the part that I want to address to you guys because I think each child is different. I initially wanted Noah to go to a school, an integrated school, a school that it was not for, children with disability. It wasn't in District 75 or anything like that. I wanted Noah in a regular setting. I wanted him to do things like all children do in school. And I wanted to put him in the school that was up the block from where I lived. It was easy access. I could drop him off and pick him up like I did with almost all his three brothers that went to that school. I wanted to continue the tradition. And I registered him at that school. I remember after registering him, and I was very excited. I was like, yeah, they're going to provide therapists because the school said that it accepted children with disabilities when I looked it up. So I said, oh, this is perfect. They're going to help him with whatever he needs. So right before school started, I want to say about a month or a few weeks before school started, I called the school. And I just kind of wanted to get information on the para and him not being potty trained and things like that. And I spoke to this lady and I mentioned that Noah had Down syndrome. And she said, she was like, well, I'm going to be honest with you. There's a little girl here who has Down syndrome and I don't even know why she's here. I don't think this is the right place for her. And I remember hearing that on the phone and saying, really, that's how you feel? And I decided at that moment I didn't want Noah to go to that school. Looking back now and doing my research, I realized that these schools, um, it's their job, it's their duty to provide whatever is necessary for children with special needs. If they're a school that they say that they're welcoming children with disabilities, they should be able to stand on that, you know. So I remember that lady telling me that, and then I regret not recording that conversation, but I didn't think when I called that I needed to record it. But I remember when I was when I was withdrawing my registration, and I called the school and said I didn't want him in the school, that I found another school. The person that I spoke with was like, well, why are you taking him out? Like, you live up the block. And I said, you know, I mentioned to her the conversation that I had with the other lady, and it just left me feeling uncomfortable. And her reaction wasn't even like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that, or wow, or none of that. It was like, okay, you know. So I'm just saying all of this to say is because a lot of parents are hitting me up now about school, and I'm just telling my story and my experience. And once again, I'm going to tell you what I've told each and every one of the parents that have asked me about schooling. I'm going to tell you, each child is different, and you're going to feel how you're going to feel. Noah, I feel, has a lot more delays than other children, and he might be advanced to certain things than other children. But I know my child's not potty trained. He doesn't speak much, and he has digestive disorder, and that causes a lot of things to happen. So I needed him to be in the right setting, the right environment with the right people. So I was nervous about the situation. So when it came down to finding another school, by the grace of God, I came across an article in the New York Times about this school that has started a new program called the ACES program. ACES, and I think it stands for Academic Career Essentials, something else. I'm sorry. I used to know what it meant, but it's been so long, but that's basically what it stands for. And they pretty much focus on each child individually and just prepare them for life. It's not so much getting a high school diploma. And that was one of the things I had a hard time with. When Noah had his IEP, they suggested this type of program, and I didn't want him in that program because one of the things about the program is your child will not graduate high school with a high school diploma. It will be a different type of diploma, and I had a hard time with that. I had a hard time with that, and the reason why it was hard for me, and this is when I say that having a special needs child, we go through so many feelings, and grieving never stops because we grieve on different levels. And with me, one of the things that I grieved was Noah's academic achievements. And that's because as a child, I was in a gifted program. I was skipped grades twice. My oldest son was also very gifted academically. My other son also, all the way, they both received scholarships. My two oldest received full scholarships. My oldest received a full scholarship to college, and then my other son that went to Morehouse, he received a partial scholarship, but during his time there, he was able to achieve more scholarships. And, he was in a gifted class from kindergarten, and so was DJ, my 14-year-old. He was in a gifted class since kindergarten. So it was hard for me to just say, oh, no, it's not going to get a high school diploma. And no, I need him to show people that he can also get a high school diploma. So that was hard for me. And it was a grieving process. Just saying, all right, Noah's going to go to school, but he's not going to get a high school diploma. That was hard. But then I had to really pray on it and think about it and ask myself, what do I really want for Noah and for him as an adult? Do I want him to be independent? Do I want him to be able to provide for himself? It doesn't have to be, with a job that requires a college degree or anything like that. Or do I want him to just, fit all the boxes just to prove something to the world, that he is not just a burden and he's just, he doesn't belong. You understand? So I had to fight myself with that for a while, and I prayed on it, and I decided that I need to be real with myself about my child and his needs. And I decided to contact the school that I read about in the New York Times. And it just so happened that the principal was the one that created this program. So I met with her. I asked all the necessary questions, and she made me feel real comfortable about, enrolling Noah in the school and for him to be part of this program. And let me tell you guys, Noah is in 2nd grade right now. And, sometimes I am hard on myself because I feel like maybe I should be doing more at home to help him, read or write or whatever. But honestly, I'm going to be honest with you guys. As much as it might look like I'm a super mom or a superwoman and I could juggle a million things, I really can't. It's a lot. It's a lot. And can I do more? I probably can. But my cup is full. And